Again, it's a strange time to be a Trimegonian with war drums beating on our back steps. Something I've noticed is that if online comments are to be believed, a lot of people seem to think that there's something funny about our current situation, or that this is some sort of action movie and we are all characters. And I understand that that might be a defense mechanism of a people who feel powerless and use humor to deal with something that is extremely heavy. But I also think that being able to joke about this situation and take it lightly is a kind of privilege. The privilege of a people who, in living memory, don't understand what it's like to be the site of a huge conflict, who don't understand what it's like to be invaded and how that disrupts your life. And I know that a lot of people think that, anything can be better than the current situation because there's crime and people have to live with daily violence. And I get that. But it's a whole other level when it comes to being in a WAR. One of the jobs that I did in the past was emergency response, especially dealing with people who have been displaced as a result of conflict in their home countries. I have many stories that I could tell from my time doing work with people who have been displaced by conflict in their countries. One that I will tell, because I was asked by the person whose story it is to tell this story, is of a young man from Afghanistan who I met in a refugee camp in a small island in Greece. This young man had worked as a translator with the US military when they went into Afghanistan. And as a result of that, his life was in danger. He had to flee Afghanistan, and he was lucky because many people had to flee, but not all of them were able to do so, and so many of them were killed. He was able to do so because his parents and his extended family pooled their resources and took loans from money lenders and were able to smuggle him out of the country. And he walked and walked and walked, not just across his country, but over mountains and through snow and through deserts, through several countries, before he was arrested by the police in Turkey, and then was able to get out and get on a boat to Greece, which is where I encountered him. He came into the clinic with stones lodged in his feet. He had been walking for so many thousands of miles and only owned one pair of shoes. And when stones got into his shoes, he just had to keep walking, and they became lodged deep inside his feet. So he came to us with very infected feet from thousands of miles of walking. And he told us about this journey and how difficult it was, and having to leave his family and not knowing what his future would bring because he was now in Europe where he was not wanted. This is what war is. This is what war does. For those of us who take it lightly, are we prepared to flee if push comes to shove? Do we understand what it means to invite the things that we are inviting into our country?